Alright, Dave at the Game Thing here, and right now on YouTube, every single video that you see that says how to download and install Fortnite on an iPhone if you are outside of the EU, every single one of those videos is a complete fake. It is pure bullshit and it is just absolute clickbait. So what I'm going to do in this video is to show you with this iPhone SE Gen 3, which is one of the compatible phones for Fortnite on iPhone at the moment. I'm going to show you with this phone that it doesn't work. So hopefully it stops people out there from getting their time wasted with all these dickheads on YouTube who are doing all this bullshit and stuff. Anyway, let me just dive into showing you this on the iPhone and then I'll say some more stuff afterwards. Okay, so what I've got here then is an iPhone SE Gen 3, and this is one of the iPhones that you can install Fortnite onto if you are within the EU. Now what I'm going to do is obviously blur out certain parts of the screen here for security reasons and personal information and stuff. However, let me just go through and show you all the ways that this iPhone is set up and it should be able to download Fortnite. Okay, so as we can see here, it says it's an iPhone SE. Unfortunately, it doesn't say Gen 3 here, but if you want to check that model number there, that model number does mean that it is a Gen 3 SE. And then as far as the version of the operating system is concerned, as we can see here, I am on iOS 17.6.1. So this is actually the very latest version, and this again is totally compatible with Fortnite. Now as far as media and purchases are concerned, as far as Apple are concerned, I'm actually in Sweden. So as we can see here where it says country and region, this says Sweden. Now not just that, but I am also using a Swedish ID on this iPhone as well. So basically this iPhone is basically Swedish. Okay, so what I am going to do now is to try and download and install Fortnite. So of course, as we've just seen, this phone is set up to be in Sweden, but of course I'm not physically in Sweden. So what I'm going to have to do here is to use a VPN to say that I am in Sweden. So there's the VPN there. Now this happens to be ExpressVPN. I am in no way endorsing this VPN. It just happens to be one that I use. Now as we can see here, I am connected and I am connected to Sweden. So as far as anybody is concerned, this is an iPhone with the Swedish ID attached to it, and I am in Sweden because of the VPN. Okay, so now that everything is all set up, I am going to try and download and install Fortnite. There are basically two ways of doing this, and the first way is going to be going direct to the Epic website and downloading it from there. So as you can see here, I am on the Epic website. So what I'm going to do now is just tap on install here. Then I'm just going to scroll down there to where it says install on iOS. So let me just tap on that. And then as we can see here, cannot install app. You are not eligible to install new apps from store.epicgames.com. So basically there's our complete block right there, because we would have to download the actual games installer first, then choose Fortnite and then install that. But immediately Epic Games is blocking the phone. Now just at this point, for anybody who is doing this properly within the EU, just to be clear, what happens is an extra message would pop up on the phone here like this one, which would then tell you to go to your settings. In fact, let me just show you. So a message would pop up here saying go to settings and say yes to a particular message. And then what would happen, you would come to settings, and then just underneath your ID here, there will be a message pop up under here saying something like, do you want to trust Epic Games to install software, or something like that. So you would just say yes to the message that would appear there, and then you would just go back to that page on the Epic website, and then that will then continue to do the install for the installer. However, and as we can definitely see here, this just isn't working. Okay, so the second method for downloading and installing that we could possibly use is to go to the Alt Store and do it from there. So as we can see here, I am on the Alt Store website. So what I'm going to do is just scroll down here, and then what we're going to see is something that says Alt Store PAL. Now this is the download that we have to do in order to be able to install stuff onto the iPhone, or very specifically Fortnite. So I'm just going to tap on download here. Now this is going to go through how you download and stuff, and once again you have to kind of like acknowledge a message within settings. But as we're going to see here, if I tap on download, look at this, cannot install app. You are not eligible to install new apps from altstore.io. So once again, clearly I am being blocked. So despite the fact that this phone is registered to a Swedish Apple ID account, and as far as anybody is concerned, I'm in Sweden because of the VPN, as we can see here, it's just not able to download from AltStore either. Okay, so as we could clearly see there then, that just did not work. Now I've got a few other things to say here and whatnot, but before I do that, I'm just going to show you something on this iPad here. Now don't forget, if you are within the EU, you can also install Fortnite on an iPad. It's a little bit more difficult. However, I'm just going to show you something anyways to show you that I have had nothing but trouble trying to do it on this iPad as well. Okay, so I'm just going to flash through some stuff here on this iPad Pro, and once again there will be a little bit of blaring here and there just for obvious security and like privacy reasons and stuff. But as you can see straight away, as far as the model is concerned, this is the iPad Pro 11-inch 4th generation. So basically this is the M2 iPad Pro, and this is definitely one that is on the compatibility list for Fortnite. And then as far as the operating is concerned, as we can see here, I am on iPad OS 18.0. Now I'm obviously on a beta here, however the betas are completely compatible as well with the Fortnite download. And then once again, as far as my media and purchases settings are concerned, this is definitely on a Swedish ID, and as we can see here, the country and region is set to Sweden. And then once again, as far as the VPN is concerned, as we can see, I am set up to be in Sweden. Now what's interesting here with the iPad Pro is that for whatever reason, and I don't understand why, I was able to download and install the Alt Store app here. Now there is absolutely no difference between the iPad Pro and the iPhone as far as regions and whatnot were concerned, and VPNs and stuff like that. So why it downloaded on the iPad, I don't know. However, there is a problem after I've installed it. So if I just launch the app there, now what happens is, it says here, yes, you know, there's Epic Games Store and all the rest of it, but what happens is when you launch, like, you know, the Alt Store app here, all this is going to do is redirect us back to the actual Epic Game Store. So in essence, there really is only one place to download this from, but nonetheless, I will show you what happens here. So I'll tap on this. Then as we can see, it's just a basic redirect straight to the Epic's Game Store. Now from this point, I'm just going to tap on install there, and then just going to scroll down to where it says install on iOS. I'm going to tap on that. Now, basically, this doesn't work either. So at this point, there's meant to be a message that comes up, as I explained earlier, which you then go into settings, verify it and say, yes, I would like to download from the Epic Store. Then you would come back here, then continue with the download. But as we can see, the message for the confirmation isn't even popping up here. And then if I just tap on install right now, I'll just show you what happens here. As we can see, it now says here, open the Epic Games Store. Now this is like assuming that it has downloaded itself, but if I go back here, as we can see, there's nothing there. There's no Epic Games Store app or anything like that. So like I say, at this point, although I got Alt Store to go on, even putting that on didn't get me anywhere further on the Epic's Game Store either. Okay, and once again, as we could clearly see there, it didn't work on the iPad either, although I've obviously gotten through to another stage on the iPad, but it still doesn't work nonetheless. The end result is that it doesn't work. Now what I'm going to do here is just kind of talk a little bit about some stuff. Now the one thing that I will make clear though is that if I do find a way of being able to do this, I will definitely do a video about it to show others how to do it. But right now you definitely can't, and I'm just getting really wound up with all this bullshit on YouTube. In fact, I don't understand why YouTube don't clamp down on these absolute fake videos, because all they do is waste people's time. You know, it's absolute bullshit, the whole thing. Anyways, There is one thing that I don't even know whether this could be a thing, but what it might be is that, say when you buy your iPhone or your iPad, say for instance, if I were to have bought this in Sweden and then the first use of it was definitely within Sweden, then maybe my serial number on my device gets kind of like logged to the first country that it was activated in. Maybe it's the initial activation which determines as to whether you're in Europe or not, or the EU, as far as your devices are concerned. Now, that's just a pure guess, and the only reason why I'm saying that is because obviously the VPNs should be able to bypass anything to do with, like, you know, anything to do with the regions and stuff, because as we could clearly see there, I was using Sweden as the VPN, so it definitely would work, because in the past I also did very much the same thing with Warzone Mobile, and I used Sweden and Germany and places like that, and it definitely worked, and that was only relying purely on a VPN. So in this instance, the reason why we can't do it, again, I'm not so sure, but it could be that the actual hardware is region locked to when you first activate the hardware. That's just a pure guess. I'm not saying that that is exactly what the case is. Now, beyond that, there are certain things to do with MAC addresses and stuff like that, but nonetheless, there would appear to be a much kind of stronger system in place here to basically lock people out if they are not within the territories that they should be in order to download and install Fortnite. Now, the other thing that is dead obvious here right now is that there is not one video on YouTube right now. Today is the 17th of August 2024. There is not one video on YouTube that clearly shows this process working outside of the EU. Not one video. Every single one of them is absolute bullshit clickbait, and like I said before, it is just purely designed to waste your time and to make some dickhead money through YouTube ad revenue. Now, why YouTube are not clamping down on these things is beyond me, because two things result from this. Adverts get shown on bullshit videos, which I'm assuming would be a waste of money for the advertisers, but more importantly for you, the viewer, it's an absolute complete waste of your time. So why aren't YouTube helping to protect you, the viewer, from absolute bullshit videos and total lies? And why are they helping little gobshites on YouTube to earn money at the expense of the advertisers? Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not in league with the advertisers. I don't really give a toss about them. I give more of a toss about the end user and the viewer, but nonetheless, this is all a mess where people either lose money or people have their time wasted. So right now I'm getting really pissed off at all this stuff on YouTube. Do you know what? I'm gonna have to go. I can feel myself going into a deep rant here. Last thing I'm gonna say is I can't get this to work. I have not seen anyone doing it legitimately on YouTube so far, and as far as I'm concerned, it's all friggin' bullshit and it's all clickbait. And if there does come a time where I can find a way of doing this and it does work, I will definitely do a video about that. Anyways, I'm Dave at The Game Thing. Thank you very much for watching this video. Take care and goodbye now.